count. We talk about Google. We talk about SEO. We talk about getting the phone to ring. But there's a massive disconnect that I see happening in shops across the country. And I mean, you could spend 10K a month on marketing if you really wanted to. But if the person answering the phone can't convert, or if the experience at your counter feels transactional instead of relational, you're kind of just pissing away money. And so that's why we tackled and we're tackling on the next shop owners panel in December. We're going to be digging into the relationship between your investment in marketing and your investment at the front of your shop. I want to compare the two. I want to talk about the two, and we're going to have 3 different great shop owners talking about their experiences with that. Now, I had a client recently whose numbers were climbing, right? Their calls were up. Their visibility was through the roof. Their revenue flat. And then he rebooted the front of his house. And that very next month, he realized the gains from the last 9 months of marketing work. It's a shame that we didn't do it sooner, or we didn't force him to do it sooner, but we're not coaches, we're marketing people. And so this is one of the reasons that we do this podcast, is we're trying to give as much insight to shop owners who are trying to grow or trying to actually advance their shop. I can help you. AA Shop Marketing can help you on the marketing side, but I need you to make sure that you're matching that effort on the front of your shop, on your customer experience. And on this podcast, we're going to break down how to make sure your service advisors are actually catching the ball that we're throwing them. All right. So if you're new around here, welcome to the Garage Grit Podcast Live. I'm Brad Hurlock, your host of the Garage Grit Podcast and co-owner of AA Shop Marketing. And we talk on the podcast about what's happening inside real shops. We have conversations with shop owners and other shop owners, and we break it down and turn it into hopefully real ideas that you can apply. And so if you kind of are looking forward to the December podcast, feel free to drop front of shop in the chat right now. Or maybe you feel like, maybe your front of shop is doing great. Maybe it's a bottleneck. Either way, if you're looking forward to that podcast, drop it in there, front of shop. But let's get into what was dropped into your feed this week. Now, we had a powerhouse of shop owners panel, and that was published just earlier today, featuring 3 guys running some serious volume. We had Julio from Florida, we had Jarrod from Pennsylvania, and we had Dale from Ohio. And the topic was documenting processes, basically how to get the knowledge out of your head and into some sort of real manual so the shop doesn't crumble when you go on vacation. And I said real manual because if you put it on a piece of paper and then you file it neatly away in the drawer and nobody sees it, does it really exist? All right. So what I loved about this conversation, first, Jarrod made a great point on where to start. All right. I'll give you 2 different ideas, but Jarrod's point was you don't have to figure out where to start. You don't have to write a 500-page manual on Wednesday or during your Thanksgiving Day break. Just start with what broke today. And when something goes wrong like that, a customer gets upset, a process seems a little clunky, doesn't seem to flow right, so that it doesn't happen again, think about it. Spend time writing about it, what happened and what could have happened or should have happened. And, you might end up with 35 different Google documents or however you're going to store that information. And then you can just kind of use ChatGPT or some sort of AI to help organize it later on. But the idea is don't go and build a manual. Build it while you're working on it. Building while you're working on the shop, and start today in incremental pieces. I had another shop owner tell me that the great place to start is with the customer experience, and just methodically walk through how you would want that customer experience to be from beginning to end. And then after the customer's finished dropping off the car, then you follow the car through the process. And, again, you don't do the whole thing all at once. You do it a little bit at a time. You break it down. And then we kind of, started riffing about something else completely. We started talking about, maybe it's related. We had a discussion about parts managers, and Dale from Ohio was talking about how, and now he's a bigger shop, and he's got multiple locations, but he swears by having a dedicated parts manager so that the service writers aren't constantly looking up prices and whatnot. It actually makes the GP more consistent. It makes takes the potential emotional experience from this customer to the service writer out of the equation. It also unifies the pricing because it doesn't change from one service writer to another service writer. And so, just to let you know, I've interviewed him since this podcast that just got published today. And we're going to be launching that episode later on in the month of December 2025 on an Origin and Impact series. And he's going to talk in more detail about hiring that parts manager and what size shop should be considering it. It doesn't have to be as big as his. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come out sometime later this next month. But he says having a dedicated parts manager has increased his GP by 5% and allowed his advisors to focus on, he actually referred to it as a Chick-fil-A level of service. Julio tried it back in the past, and it didn't work for him at that time, which kind of proves there's no silver bullet, right? You've got to find what works for you. But it seems to me that it's worthwhile exploring at the very least. We also touched on AI and how to leverage that to help you with your document processing. You're documenting your processes. And if you're staring at a blank screen trying to write a phone script or a standard operating procedure, you might just be wasting a little bit of time. So leverage AI, leverage ChatGPT or Perplexity or Grok or Gemini, whatever one you prefer to use. Jarrod was using AI to clean up his rough drafts. Remember, he was saying about how he just focuses on what's broken, and then he uploads a bunch of those documents and has the AI help him organize it and clean it up. So use the tools that are available to you. Maybe it's using a program like Way We Do, or maybe it's just using videos to capture what's going on at the shop. But stop trying to be a professional content writer. Start being a shop owner that leverages technology. Anyway, so if you missed that episode, it's worthwhile. Go back and listen. I know I say that about a lot of them, but I think this was going to help your shop in this manner. And so if that resonates with you, go check it out. Ton of gold talking about using different programs like Trello or Slack, or like I said, or Way We Do, private YouTube channels to train your team. And the list goes on and on. And if you are listening to this and you are realizing you don't even have a car count to worry about a parts manager yet, then let's fix that, right? Let's work on that. Let's get you jump started by going to addy.me/jumpstart. That's addi.me/jumpstart. And then we'll figure out the next marketing step for you to increase that car count, to increase your visibility in your position. But I'm kind of curious if you kind of are thinking about this parts guy thing, why don't you put parts manager or parts gal in the chat below, or maybe just advisor in the messaging? Who knows? Whatever you want to tell me, just tell me what you're thinking about in regards to whether or not that extra person is a good idea for you. Okay, so let's talk about phone scripts being part of your brand. If you don't have documented talk tracks, then your marketing dollars are potentially a little exposed. Build a consistent phone experience so that the caller hears the same level of confidence, the same level of expectations, the same process. I think this is going to raise your conversion rate. Match your documentation with your website. If you're positioning yourself as a process-driven shop, the dealer alternative, the transparent repair or inspection first workflow, then show it. Talk about it. Let's not use the exact same content of all the other shops that are out there. Make it your own, or have your marketing guy make it your own. Use your photos of your team doing real DVIs and customer check-ins. And this is what's going to build trust with your customer. All right. Number 3, I kind of like this one, but I'm not. Stop pausing your marketing efforts when things get busy. All right. If you pause, you dial it back a little bit just because if you pause your marketing when you're busy, then your processes might be becoming inconsistent. You're going to lose that momentum, and you're going to have to, potentially retrain Google and add even more content to reverse the slowdown. Google rewards consistency. And so it's important that you keep that going. It's better for you to fix the bottleneck of your processes so that you can continue to handle that growth. And as I said before, if you're just trying to maintain your shop as is, then this isn't the right podcast for you anyway. But if you're trying to grow, don't slow down your marketing, keep it going, and figure out how to handle it. All right. So We're looking ahead to December where we're going to fix the disconnect between marketing and the front of your counter. We wrapped up a deep dive on systems, documentation, and operational structure that you need to scale. And right now, your job is to take one process that's broken, document it, and get your team aligned. Now, remember, I'm not a coach. I'm just a digital marketing guy. And I know that you can't market a bad product. You can't market a bad service, or at least you shouldn't. And so, and if you have that broken system, then you're not going to be able to scale the chaos. But if you want to see, if you want to grow, then let's get those things in order. Let's get you on track for your marketing as well. And if you want to see how you stack up against your local competition, I'm happy to do the research for you. Just give me a shout out or go out to our website, more importantly, or easily, and go to addi.me/jumpstart. That's addi.me/jumpstart. And if you think you'd like to be on screen with me, do you think you'd make a good panelist for a future panel or maybe a one-on-one conversation? I'd love to have you. And why don't you just go out to addi.me/join panel and we'll start that conversation and see where you might fit in. Love to hear shop owner stories from across the country. And I'm hoping the next one is with you. addi.me/join panel. It's time to grow stronger together.